Hey, howdy, it's me, Manic Mark, coming to you from the bunker system located underneath the Art Villa found somewhere in the jungles of the Midwest. And today I'm coming to you with today's record finds. That's right. It's been a busy day, and I just had a cup of coffee. Before that I had a beer, so I was like, tried to get myself pumped up and come down here to do the record thing. Sometimes I have at least a kernel of a thought in my mind of what I'm going to say, but today it's empty, completely empty up there. I guess I could talk about the shoulder. So I had an MRI, right? Yeah, I probably talked about that. Had an MRI, and then he said, "I'll give you a shot." So he gives me a shot, and he says, "I'll see." I go, "Well, another 3 months or 3 weeks, and we'll give you another one, maybe." I'm like, "Oh, that's going to be pretty good," but the shot, the steroid, the cortisone, lasted very short period of time before I'm like, oh, I kind of feel everything creaking around in there again and starting to hurt a little bit. And, so I thought, well, let's get this surgery taken care of. So you know, everything's online now. We got a thing called MyChart here, so it's kind of nice in that. Here's this big ball up there. It's just a bad shadow right here. This thing here. Bad shadow. What does it matter? It doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, where was I at? Oh my God. The one thought I had is just sort of like, oh, it's the shoulder. That's right. So the shot wasn't working. Oh, that's right. So I get on MyChart and ask a question, and I get an answer right away from the MA, who's obviously not looked at my case. I don't know if that's what they call it. So she doesn't know anything about it. Well, we can schedule therapy for you. I'm like, no, I've been doing therapy for 2 months on my own. And, I thought there's, a shot. Oh, well, we don't like to give shot every 3 months. We'll give you a shot. I'm like, oh, that's only been like less than like 2 weeks. Can't get another shot. It worked a little bit for a while, for about a week, but it didn't take away all the pain, just like the dull pain, which is like the worst of it, frankly. So I'm like, oh. So then at that point I thought, well, maybe if I'm going to do surgery, I better check up on the guy. And I asked a guy who I know knows because he's done it himself, and he said, oh, this guy's no good and you got to find somebody else. But everybody else he suggests is not in my network. As I'm just shooting in the dark, so I want a guy that this other guy thinks is good to cut my arm open if I have to have surgery. So I'm reading about it. I finally find, but to the credit of the doctor so far, he nailed exactly what's going on, and I actually looked it up and read about it, and I think it may be associated with arthritis, although he said you got arthritis, but everybody gets that, and that's not what you're complaining about. It's a bone spur, but it's exactly where it happens, and it seems to be maybe in conjunction with arthritis. So the bone spurs grow because of arthritis, anyway. And most people that get it taken care of, surgically removed, there's a couple different ways to do it. I go, well, which way would he use? And what could go wrong? And somebody said, well, how long will it take for the bone spurs to grow back? I'm like, oh, I don't know. And so they send me this thing like 2 years. I'm like, 2 years? That doesn't seem like. And recovery time seemed. So there's unanswered questions, and probably second opinion to be worth it. And that's this guy that's no good. I don't know. I liked him. It's sad. That's funny. But anyways, just keeping up with that. But even with the shoulder being up, and sometimes, like after I work out, I do. Oh, that was the thing. And the story said, well, if it hurts, don't do that. So it's telling you wherever it hurts, stop doing stuff that makes that hurt. But then in the other part of the story, it says you got to keep exercising your shoulder. So if I'm exercising my shoulder, it's, well, I still avoid, I think, almost all the stuff. But sometimes it's fine. So there's an inflammation probably, and it's just, I don't know. But definitely, the see, like right then, just went, eat. So I've got to the point now, even with the bum shoulder, I'm going to brag a little bit, that at the last yoga class I did like a headstand, even though the instructor was just calling for a tripod, which is basically a headstand with your knees on your elbows, right? So, but I put my feet up. Not too bad. And then she had us do a crow, and man, I just held my crow forever. It was great. Most people kind of get up and they're like, and then they fall over. But I was just got on my two hands. A crow is where you put your knees on your elbows and you're just standing on your hands. It's basically a handstand where you're in a ball, right? Did damn good. And then a side crow is the same thing. You're standing on your hands, but you got both your knees, your whole body's twisted, and both your knees are kind of like perched on one elbow. And I did it on both sides and did a real good one. I was just so happy with myself. It doesn't always happen like that. Sometimes, like, I can't. You got it. And why is that? People, like all the other people in the class, like look at me like, hey. How come that old man's able to do that? Well, it's because of the 1,200 ab crunches I do every other day. And 600 on off days, although today I was only able to do 900. I just didn't feel like doing all 1,200. And then when I'm doing, I'm thinking, oh, when is my back going to blow out? Oh, Supple Leopard, that's right. I read part of the Supple Leopard book, and it's highly interesting. Did I mention that? It's a system, like an exercise system developed by this guy who runs really a high-end kind of like physical training facility and trains Olympic athletes and stuff like that. And it's all based, so far it's based on like the neutral spine position, which is to position yourself so that you don't have shear in your spine. Spine's sort of like just in this neutral line. But they talk about like yoga. There's one mention of yoga, like the cobra's so hard because it's a spine shear thing or something. So there's a lot to learn, but the basic thing is trying to position yourself so when you do something, you're doing with a neutral spine, not endangering your spine. And your ball joints, all your joints in your hips and knees, they all move a little bit differently, but there's a little bit of slack in each one just to make it easier to do stuff like this. So, but when you're lifting, you're putting torque. You want to get the most torque out of your joint. You have to position everything just so to take up that little extra play in there. So you tighten everything up. You create the muscles become like tight to help support the joint, so you don't screw up the joint. So I don't, but like I said, I'm pretty sure I didn't screw up the joint exercising. Nobody's accused me of that yet, and since it's sort of like maybe arthritis or something like that, I don't know. But I'll be a lot more safe now. It'll be a lot easier and doing a lot of different. Anyway, go. Oh my God, there's nobody left watching this video. All of you that don't know how to use the slider are like, I'm out of here. Okay, now we're going to hold up some records. Went to the record store downtown, or in Latonia, and I always find a few things when I leave there. Usually I spend a little bit more money than I want to, but there's always something to find. Interesting things like Musical Nightcap by Armando Trovajoli, right? The well-known Armando Trovajoli. At the La Capi, looks like someplace in France. Where is that at? I don't know. Anyway, I just picked it up because he plays piano and harpsichord. He's got an orchestra, although I don't know how they put an orchestra in a place like that. It's probably bigger than it looks on the inside. And there's some good tunes on it, like Lisbonia Antigua, Canadian Sunset, songs like that. Who knows what I'll get out of it. This is going to be good. It's like, oh, do I have this one? Oh, I hope I don't have it because I'm going to spend like $9 on my thing. Jumping with Ventura. There's a photograph of Charlie Ventura in the back, if you have never seen what the guy looks like. But Neil Hefti and Charlie Shavers are in the band, Kai Wining. A lot of big names, or guys that went on later to make a lot of records. So the Miserlou is a tune on this, and How High the Moon, 1160, Blue Champagne. I imagine it's going to be pretty good on MRC. Pretty good jazz. Frank Ortega, piano player. Here he is. It's a trio. Usually when you see his name, it's associated with low-end projects or sets. This one happens to be on Jubilee. Not sure what to make of it. The Third Man theme. But it's a nice cover. It's a blurry photograph of a guy pushing a woman in a swing set. It's graphically pleasing. This is a giant sticker they put on it. Oh, because it's stereo. So they just printed one cover and to save money, and then they slapped a sticker on it. A number of companies did that early on. This is probably 58, I would say. 1958 probably is when that was issued. Stan Kenton album. A beautiful Capitol cover. Stan Kenton. Pretty sure I don't have this one. And I think I got almost all of Kenton's catalog. Except some of the earlier ones, like I would like to find on, like City of Glass, like on 78 or an EP set, you know, like, or even maybe the original. I might have like a reissue of that, but like from the late 50s or early 60s or something. I don't remember. Anyway, Stan Kenton doing balance. It'll be nice. Joe Harnell, a piano player. A Rhythm in the Fire. Arranged and conducted by Joe Harnell. Don't know what to make of it. Taste of Honey. The Girl from Ipanema. Elwyn. Boy, theme from Black Orpheus. It's oh, it's, you know, it's like a, remember when you would go to the rock concert and they would like put slides up and the slides would be filled with oil or something, and it was all like, you're supposed to be on an acid trip and everything. That's what the cover is. It looked kind of like just a mistake, but I know what they were trying to go for there now. I might have this one. I couldn't remember. I picked it up anyway because why? It was only $1. 1956. Havana, 3 a.m. Perez Prado and his orchestra on RCA. Fun cover. And a Lionel Hampton I don't have. Going way back. That wasn't too pricey. 1954. I don't think I've got this one. There's an interesting illustration on the cover. 3 tunes per side, including Love for Sale, which was a favorite of mine. Stardust and How High the Moon. Nice copy. Looks good. I picked this up because of the name. Instant Death by Eddie Harris. That's right, Instant Death. What are you going to name your album? Instant Death. What does that mean? Instant death. All death is instant unless you're not quite dead yet, right? Oh, not quite dead instantly. But now there's studies out that say it's not instant death. It's everything sort of dies at its own rate, you know. You expire over time. 1972 anyway. That's back before they knew about that. The body just didn't go away immediately. Herbie Mann, an early Herbie Mann, this is before he took his shirt off, that's right. Early Man, 1957. Ah, that is early. That cover does not look that early. Graphically speaking, the cover and the printing doesn't look like 67. That's right. It's because you can't see numbers anymore. Another Day, Oscar Peterson, that was $1. When the guys that printed this, when they got the job, you probably can barely see it. It's like so thin. It's like not a half point. It's maybe a quarter of a point thick font. And the printers must have been driven crazy by this print job. Like, why would you give us a job with such thin type? And this is not in register either. It must have drove them crazy. I don't know. Looks interesting. Last but not least, put on the bottom of the stack because I think it's going to be the most interesting and the most expensive. This is about 14 bucks. Shorty Rogers and his Giants doing waltzes in an avant-garde style, a venture in avant-garde improvisational technique combined with melodic invention, a memorable oral experience. That's right, Shorty Rogers. There he is in the back. This will be good. I hope I can share something from this as a musical sample. I don't know for sure. But we'll give it a shot. That's it. Okay, I ran through that one pretty fast, except for there at the beginning where I was just blabbing. But you've come to expect that from me. I've come to expect it from myself, too, as a matter of fact. All right, there you go. Bye.